Peace, everybody. I am Ms.Wasaba, your pre-K English co-teacher, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about a feeling called curious. This is my curious face. Hmm. 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 When you're curious about something, you want to learn more about it. You have a lot of questions about it, and you want to get more information about it. So I'm going to introduce some of you to Curious George, and some of you all are going to be reintroduced to Curious George. And we're going to find out what our friend here is curious about. This is George. He lived in Africa. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Can you tell us, what is Curious George doing here? Let's see what happens next. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow straw hat. The man saw George too. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I would like to take him home with me. He put his hat on the ground, and of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. And that's George coming down to the hat. The hat had been on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up and put it on. When you look at this page, what does it look like George is interested in? What is George curious about? Let's see what happens next. The hat covered George's head. He couldn't see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. George was caught. Let's talk about this. Is that a nice thing to do? It looked like George was very happy in the beginning of the story. He was swinging in the trees, eating his banana. And then someone came and took him without his permission. That is not a nice thing to do. I'm sure that Curious George did not feel okay about that. We do not touch or take things from people without their permission. Okay, let's see. Look at George's face. How do you think he's feeling? Yeah, he looks scared. Let's see what happens next. The man with the big yellow hat put George into a little boat, and a sailor rowed them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag. George sat on a little stool, and the man said, George, I am going to take you to a big zoo. In a big city, you will like it there. Now run along and play, but don't get into trouble. George promised to be good, but it is easy for little monkeys to forget. The man with the yellow hat was talking to a monkey. Can you talk to a monkey? Do you understand the language of monkey? Let's see what happens next. On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but these are the seagulls. What do you think happened when George tried to fly? Let's see what happens. Oh, what happened? First this and then this. It looks like George fell in the water. How do you think he's feeling? Oh boy. Where's George? The sailors looked and looked. At last they saw him struggling in the water and almost all tired out. It's George. Man overboard, the sailors cried as they threw him a lifebelt. George caught it and held on. At last he was safe on board. Geez, that was close. After that, George was more careful to be a good monkey until at last the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship onto the shore and on into the city to the man's house. After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt very tired. It looks like George is very happy to be eating. He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. The end. So, that was an interesting book and story about Curious George. He was curious about the hat. He wanted to learn more about the hat. And he was curious about how the seagulls could fly. He wanted to learn more about how they could fly, and he tried to fly too. So, our assignment for you this week is to draw a picture of something that you're curious about, something that you want to know more about. I'll show you my picture. This is me, and I'm thinking about, I'm curious about a dog. And if I had a dog, what kind of games would I want to play with a dog? I thought maybe I'd play fetch with a dog. And this spells dog, D-O-G. D-A-G. D-A-G. Dog. I look forward to seeing what you all create. Bye.